See, that's too dark. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. It is January 1st. Right now it's 6:30 Eastern Time. I'm sitting in the parking lot of a supermarket here, starting my drive back home. I guess I should say continuing my drive back home. And I want to be an encouragement to people. The last 2 weeks, basically, I've been on vacation, and there's a lot of stuff I'll go over as we go through our year, but it's been a really good vacation. It's been a really good time to spend with family and kind of refresh a little bit. It wasn't perfect. Not everything worked out the way that we had hoped, but it was good. And it got me ready for this year with just some ideas and plans I want to achieve. But this is an encouragement channel, and typically the videos we post are something through the Bible, and I want to give biblical encouragement, but sometimes I may have to, if I don't get a chance to discuss a specific Bible reading or Bible passage, I still want to give something. And like I said, I know it's 6:30, so it's late in the day. But this morning was spent getting ready to leave and then getting delayed because of snow, and then finally getting on the road and having to drive slow, and I didn't want to try to do this while I was driving. So while I'm parked here, I will let you know I was listening to a podcast. Now, what I'm about to say you can judge me on, and if you want, and I don't care. I mean, do with it what you want. But if you at all follow sports or anything around sports, you may have seen, heard, read about the actor / professional wrestler / entertainer John Cena, and that he on the 13th of December wrestled his last in-ring competition. He said after that day he was still going to represent the company when the opportunity came, but it was not going to be as an active wrestler in there. And so there were a lot of interviews being done with him by various TV shows and different things. And I was listening to a couple of them because he had been actively taking part for 23 years. He'd been involved in wrestling in some way, shape, or form. And he was being interviewed by a famous ESPN columnist, actually, named Tom Rinaldi. And during the interview, there were two things said that I think, as a Christian, were great pieces of advice. So the first one he mentioned was the idea of success. What did he find as success? And both he and Tom both gave their wording of it, and I'll probably misquote it, but it was, I think Tom said it was the idea of, or John, like I said, one of the two said it was the idea of earning the sunset on the day. I think that was John's. And Tom said something towards the effect of taking the cup of time that God has given and using it to the best of your ability to bless and help others. And I just thought that was an interesting challenge, that we should do our best to take the time we're given and to be an encouragement to others, because God only gives us a certain amount of time. Part of the thing I learned on this trip was, honestly, at times, how bad I've been at using time to be there for my family. Finding out things that had occurred in their lives and realizing there was probably times they could have used, whether it was an ear, whether it was a hug, whether it was a conversation, whatever it may have been, and me not being there to support or being there to encourage. And it's a goal of mine this year to be better at that and resolving, and I'm putting it out there where it'll be available to be known that that's a target of mine, a goal of mine. So what are you doing with the time that you have? Because it's short. The Bible tells us life is but a vapor. It vanishes. It's gone before you know it. I mentioned, that this was during an interview with John Cena, and one of the things he said is there were times where if you were to ask him what happened in 2007 during his career, and one of the other shows they were talking about how great a year it was for him, but he mentioned during this one particular interview that unless you brought up something specific, so much time has passed and so many things have occurred, he wouldn't have remembered it without it being brought up specifically. We don't have a bunch of time. In the grand scheme of everything, there's not a lot of time. So my encouragement, first off, using Cena and making biblical principles out of it, it's the idea of making full use of the cup of time that you're given. The other thing he talked about, you may not know about this, but Cena was well known for the time that he spent involving himself in the Make-A-Wish Foundation. If you're unaware of that group, what they are is an organization that meets with people that are dealing with typically life-altering or even some life-ending circumstances or conditions. And what the company tries to do is to find out what kind of things they would want. Sometimes it's an experience, sometimes it's meeting somebody, whatever it may be. And Cena is known as being the person in any sport, in any activity, in any point of life, they call it grant the most wishes. And so Tom Rinaldi asked him about that and what that means to him. And he said he doesn't see it as an accolade, because he says he sees it more as just a responsibility, almost like a common duty. Because what's being asked is, as this person is struggling with probably facing the worst thing of their life. Again, some of these are children that have been given a short time to live. And what do they want to do for their wish? But as he put it, they want to spend some time with me. He goes, it's the least I can do. The Bible tells us that in Romans that we're to present our bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is our reasonable service. It's so to speak, the words we would use today is the least you can do. What's the time that we are spending for Him, for the Lord? What's the time that we devote to Him? What excuses do we come up with to say why we can't do something? Our reasonable service is what's mentioned. Reasonable. You should be able to do this. You should be able to take care of this. And we come up with reasons why we can't, or excuses why we can't. I'm guilty of it. It's a new year. What are we doing today to fix that? Anywho, that's my encouragement for you today. 1, what are you doing with the time that you have? And to go with that, what are the duties? What are the responsibilities? What are the actions that we're taking and saying, no, I don't have the time to do it, or I don't have the capability of doing it. And it's your reasonable duty. While I was away, one of my sons was at the church service and was asked to lead music for the service. As that, I was super proud, but what I was encouraged by was the fact that he was willing to do it. You know, did he sit there and know all the musical patterns? Didn't matter. He had energy, he had excitement. I had people messaging me, telling me, like, wow, he's done really good, and they're really proud of him. He's never expressed an interest in it. But I remember him saying before as a joke, yeah, I may have to do that while you're up visiting your mom. And he got the chance to do it. It was another opportunity for him to come and serve, and he helped get things set up so that the service could be streamed for those that couldn't actually physically make it to church. He didn't have to do that. Wasn't his responsibility or duty. But he said, if it's a place I can help, I want to do that. This is reasonable. To him, this is reasonable service. And I mention that because that was yesterday and this past Sunday, which was just a few days ago. What about you? What about me? What are we going to do for our reasonable service? Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on January 1st. Maybe you watch this January 2nd. I don't know what day you'll watch it, but hopefully it'll be an encouragement to you. Have a great and blessed year. Let's do the best we can. You may see a lot more videos like this that are short and popped on there, hopefully a little bit earlier in the daytime. I'll try to be better at that, but this one just felt like a good time to do this now. Take care.